Hi, today we'll be talking about the war in Europe. We'll be going over the invasion of Poland, the Germans' attack on France, and America's role in World War II.
The invasion in Poland. On September 1st, 1939, two separate army groups led the German attack on Poland from the north and south. The campaign against Poland became the first example of Blitzkrieg, or lightning war. The Soviets used massive numbers of tanks, while the infantry, or soldiers on foot, took care of mopping up the remaining enemy forces. With the help of the German offensive, the enemy had no time to put up a strong defense. This is a map of the Germany and the Soviet Union's invasion areas. After a period of war and distress for Poland, Britain, who was fighting against Hitler and the Nazi Party, used Polish sources and cracked the German Enigma codes used for radio trafficking. Knowing this information gathered from radio traffic would be a key element to the Allied forces, France, Britain, Netherlands, and Poland, working against the Nazis.
American neutrality. During the 1920s, a growing isolationist movement gained strength in the U.S. American interests focused on America surviving the war, while leaving Europe to sort out their own problems. Americans did not want their country to face another war. The first image you see is American soldiers playing cards. These soldiers are part of the Battle of 1944, when World War II was at its closing. This image is of U.S. soldiers of World War II. Over 500,000 military soldiers and civilians died during World War II.
So in honor of the soldiers who died for you and I, and made our America, we will remember them with a moment of silence.
During the 1930s, American Neutrality Acts were being passed. These acts prevented America from trading with Germany or anyone in Europe. By 1935, these acts had restricted America from trading weapons with countries fighting against the Nazi Party. However, the deal broke later on when America sided with the Allied forces, also known as Britain, France, Netherlands, and Poland. The first image you see is a comic version of what American propaganda would have looked like during World War II. The second image is more or less the same thing.
The attack on France. The Americans favored the Allied powers against Germany after moving away from total isolation, but the Americans were stopped short by the direct military involvement. The Neutrality Act was a victory for the Americans in government, like President Franklin Roosevelt, who believed Americans would become involved in World War II. On May 10, 1940, the Nazis decided to assault France. The Dutch resistance lasted only until May 13th, then fled to Great Britain. The Belgian resistance shared a similar fate. The German military leaders decided to lure the French and British forces further north, while their main attack would come through the Ardennes forest. The idea was to have German forces move behind the main bodies of the Allied forces and cut them off quickly. By May 15th, German forces under the command of Erwin Rommel had attacked the French defenses and began a fast advance through the French countryside. Successfully, the Germans in the Ardennes caused the entire Allied defensive line to begin to falter, and greater gains were contributed by German troops advancing through the Belgian in the north. This caused French troops to have much more needed panic from the German actions. On June 10, 1940, Italy declared war on France while German forces advanced. Due to this, the French government fell apart. By June 16th, Henry Philippe Pétain, a war hero in the First World War, France, arranged a peace agreement with Germany. In this agreement, Hitler would rule the northern part of France while the south remained a free country. Also, those living in the northern France were forced to pay large reparations to Germans. In the end, after North France was taken over, South France created a new capital, Vichy France. Charles de Gaulle, powerful in the French military, urged his troops to continue fighting the war from France's colonies in Africa. When the Vichy government chose to accept Germany's terms, de Gaulle claimed that he, not the Vichy government, represented Free France and that they would keep fighting.
These were some of the sources we used for our images. Thank you for listening to our presentation about the war in Europe.
And goodbye.